Hi everyone, and welcome to Valley Crafty Corner. Today I have another scrapbook process video. This is again using the January kit for Studio Calico called Block Party. And I started off with just white cardstock that was in the kit, and I had this strip of the vellum that I used in my December daily. And all I did is take some clay mist and just kind of sprayed it just to add a little bit of a different sort of pattern to the layout. And I thought about putting this piece right straight along those two pieces where I had sprayed, but I changed the process kind of midway through, and I really like how the result turned out. And that picture there is my cute little dog Mankey, and every time she goes out into the snow, she sniffs and sniffs and sniffs, and if the snow is really kind of wet and heavy, it sticks to her chin, and it's just so cute. So it was hard not to take a picture of her, and there she definitely needs a haircut because you can almost can't see her eyes, so it's kind of funny. So I took that paper from American Crafts, and it's from the XOXO collection that has the clouds on it, and I really liked how I kind of wanted to have kind of like a very soft neutral kind of palette, just because it was going to be a snow layout. And I had this little, I think it's a 6-inch doily, I'm not sure, but anyway, it came from a kit quite a while ago from Studio Calico. I'm not even sure which one anymore. And I just had it left over, so I was going to use it just to kind of add another little element. And then I took this paper that had the strips on it, and at first I didn't really like it, but once you cut the strips down, it's really not that bad. And I really like this one that's kind of like a greeny kind of gray pattern on it. It has a chevron pattern on it, and it really went quite well with what I was trying to do. And that is some more paper from, I think it's a Studio Calico exclusive, that dotted pattern. We had a piece similar to it in the January Project Life kit that had an open knee on the other side. So I was going to use that just to add another bit of a layer underneath that photo. And I was trying to use that strip of paper, but because there was only one piece of it, I wanted to use it on both sides, but I didn't really work. So I just thought about maybe adding some of this gray paper from American Crafts XOXO collection as well, and I just cut it in different strips. And I liked how that turned out, but I don't end up using that striped paper at all. I just end up going with the gray. And I tried doing those stripes on a different way, but they looked better on the horizontal than on the vertical. So this is going to be the general layout with some minor, kind of adjustments. And I thought about adding this vellum either to the front or to the back, but it just added a little, it just kind of made it a little bit darker than I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be kind of light, bright, and fresh. So I didn't end up using it at all. So I was kind of playing around with some of the pieces that I thought I might use, and I like that noted piece, so I just ripped it off and put it on some wax paper just so that I could remember that's what I wanted to use and that's where I wanted to put it. And I think I'm just getting, here I'm just getting ready to kind of put all my layers together. And I think at some point here I sewed down that chevron strip of paper, but I don't think I do it right just yet. And I just flipped it around because it was a little darker on the other side. So I just wanted to kind of embellish, like just to kind of have the focus more towards my little puppy. And here's where I took that strip of that kind of like really soft tea leaf looking piece of paper. I thought about adding it there, but it just didn't work. So again, just kind of fussing around with the placement. And here's where I decide that I'm going to put those strips down. And because this one was really thin, I knew my ATG gun wouldn't quite fit. So I have this little little tape runner, and it just puts out little pieces, like little strips of adhesive. So I just kind of put a couple pieces just down the line just so it would work. And here's where I go and I stitch the gray pieces together, and I just stitched those gray pieces down. I just did like a straight stitch and then a zigzag, kind of mixed back and forth. And I thought about bringing in that vellum piece, but because it was so misted up with the gray ink, it kind of didn't have the right color to it, so I just decided not to use it at all. And here's where I'm pulling out the stamps. And this is that arrow stamp like I had used in the Hoover Dam layout. And I was just making sure it was straight and just trying to figure out where I wanted to put it. And I'm pulling out this Evergreen Bough Distress ink and just seeing how well it matched. And I wasn't too impressed with the coloring on it. I wanted something a little closer. So I was pulling out my Hero Arts dye inks and the shadow inks. And I pulled out, I think this one's called the Midtone Tide Pool is what I believe it's called. And that one matched really well. So I ended up using that one. And I was just stamping it where I was going to be covered up. So it didn't really matter if you saw it or not, because it was going to be hidden. So I'm just adding one at the bottom of the page, one kind of underneath the photo, and then one in the mid top, just alternating the way the arrows go so that it draws your focus in towards the photos. And I was just zooming in a little bit just so you guys could see a little better. And to do my journaling, I didn't want to use a black ink just because there was so much gray and teal going on that I didn't want to use a black to distract against that kind of fresh look that I was going for. So I was going through my distress markers just because I don't have a gray journaling pen. All I have is black and brown, which black is generally what I use anyway. So again, I was just gonna doodle underneath where the photo was gonna go just to kind of see which one I liked. And I believe I end up using, I think it was called antique linen, or no, sorry, this one's pumice stone. I used pumice stone for this one. And here I'm just laying down the photo. And here's where I decide that I'm going to stitch that. So, magic of editing. It looks like I did it in a matter of seconds, and it didn't. I took a lot longer than that. But I just stitched along that piece, and then I was just kind of flipping up the edges of it just to add a little bit of texture and dimension to it. And just laying the photo back down again. And here's where I'm going to do my journaling. And I learned this from Shamel Lane from watching her do her Glitter Girl episodes. She says if you do your journaling, it's easier to come up with a title or you can at least make sure you get your journaling in and you can work your design around it. And it works. And I am not one for journaling, but I've been doing a lot better job of it lately. So I decided to commit to putting that noted chipboard sticker down, and I really liked how that turned out. And then I'm just taking some of these really light blue arrows and just drawing your focus in towards the journaling. And then we had these little itty bitty gem kind of stars that came in the kit, and I wanted to add them to these to this layout just because I wanted to keep it very soft and cute because of my dog, and the stars kind of emulate the snow, so I really liked how that turned out. And I'm just zooming in a little bit more just so you can kind of see what it looks like. And here I'm taking some of those chipboard stickers, and I'm just deciding what my title I was wanting to say. I had a couple things in mind, but I stuck with a 2-word title. And those little itty bitty stars, they were really, what I should have did is take the glue and put a dot on the paper instead of on the stars themselves, just because they didn't really want to flip over after you had the glue on them. I'm not sure why, but they were a little bit problematic to glue down just because they were so tiny. And here is where I kind of learned to put the dot down and then put the star in the glue. And I'm going to take some wax paper here. Well, actually, don't do it just yet. I'm going to put my title as Snow Face. And normally when I put a title down, I put it on wax paper first just to see if that's where I want it to go. And I didn't do that here, but I didn't stick these letters down very hard, so they were easy to pull up. But I didn't like how it was so brown and everything else was so white and so gray. So you'll see me take some wax paper here and put them down so that I can spray them with some Studio Calico White Mr. Huey's Mist. And I think I'm just trying to find it. Here we go. And I just really saturated them quite well. And I'm just going to dry them with my heat tool. And then when I was drying them, the ink that was on, or like the paint that was down there, started to bubble up. So I kind of went away from that and just took a rag and blotted it off a bit, and then took a little bit of this paper towel that was in my box here and just kind of blotted off a little bit more. And so now I'm putting them down. So it's white on this, it's almost white on white just because of the clouds. So I really like how it has a very soft, snowy kind of look to it. And I think right here I was kind of just trying to decide if I was done. Oh, and I took a date roller stamp to stamp the date on, and I had to redo it just because it wasn't working out. And I was trying to figure out where to put it, and the only place that I could think about putting it was on the side here. And I put it in the blue ink, and I think I had the wrong date. So then I had to go in with a darker ink just so that I could redo it. I think that's what happened. Either that or it got smudged up really badly. So yeah, I think that was what the problem was. So here I'm coming in with the gray ink and just adding it on over top. And I'm adding it a couple other times just to distract away from, I'm pretty sure I had the wrong date in there, so I just redid it. I think I had 2013 instead of 2012. And normally I stamp on a like one of the pads of paper, and just like a scrap piece of paper, just to make sure I have the right date, and I didn't do it that time. Here's some 5th and Frolic vellum paper with the gold, and I wanted to kind of see if I could add this in just because I really wanted to try and use it. It's been in my stash for a while. I guess not my stash, but my new products that I haven't used yet. So I was trying to see if I could kind of fit this whole piece in, but it was just not quite right. It just didn't fit. So I ended up cutting it into smaller pieces and just kind of adding it in. Just little pieces of it. And just kind of adding it up into those little clusters, just to add some more focus in. And so what I did is I took that same little glue stick thing, and I just went on the little dots so you couldn't see where the adhesive was, and then I'll just trim it off. And then I just cut another piece for the bottom, because I think that piece was just a little too small. Yeah, that's what I did. And I wanted to put a little piece under this noted part just because I wanted it to kind of draw your attention to that noted part. And I was just fussing around with it just a little bit more just to see if I could put it in another spot, and I ended up going back to that part where I had it. I had this little tiny strip that I figured I would add underneath it, and then you could still see the blue arrows underneath it. And I added another arrow to draw attention to the title. And I think that's pretty much it. And I really like how this layout turned out. It was very different from what I'm used to, but I really like how it turned out. Very cool. So here's some close-ups for you. I just did another video just because the coloring was a little bit off in the last one. So here's another better close-up. And here's some of the pictures. Thanks for watching. Bye.